This is an Oliver 232D table saw. I'm assuming around 1945 vintage. Purchased in Fontana, California at a school auction. There's not too much information on YouTube about this saw, at least to my knowledge. So I'm just going to walk through it and show you the parts and pieces of this saw. So this saw has a 12-inch carbide tipped blade. You can see this little door makes it really nice to be able to swap out the blades if you have multiple blades. It's held on by this massive flange, and I believe this is a 1 5/8 inch nut. What makes this saw so interesting is that this entire assembly moves up and down as you pivot the blade, as you angle the blade. So I'll go over here and move this hand wheel, and you'll see that the entire assembly starts moving. And you know, it's got these giant trunnions, which makes it really easy. Don't worry about the shaking, I think it's safe. Which makes it really easy for the blade to go up and down.
Here.
As you can see, it's pretty far out there, but there's some pretty complex engineering inside here which allow this to work, and as usual with Oliver, everything is really overbuilt and sturdy. So also with this assembly moving out all as one unit, it allows the dust collection system to come out as well, all in the same area, so to speak. The hand wheel in the front raises and lowers the blade as on pretty much every table saw. It's actually got a pretty limited height, and that's because instead of relying on a pulley and belt system, it's actually moving the entire motor just under the height of the table. So I think you're able to rip through about 1 3/4 inches, maybe 1 7/8 inches. That's about it on this saw. If you look closely on the top of the tabletop, you'll see there's all these striations running along the axis of the blade, and I'm pretty sure that's because of the old metal planers they used to use, where a single pass would go by with the bit. Also, if you look close, you'll see that there's a scale imprinted on the top of the table. It's fairly accurate, although I always double check against the fence before I make a cut. Pretty neat though. Here's a miter fence that came with the saw, adjustable to 60 degrees, a little over 60 on both sides. Nice knurled hand wheel here to lock it down. It's got the screw hole, or the bullet holes, so you can have a horseshoe fence if you're able to actually find another one. But really nice fence, just as hard to find the original parts as it is to find an entire saw. So I'm really happy I got both of these. I think my favorite part about the saw is this adjustable fence, a Type J fence. You can see it on the top here. I'll swing the camera around later. But it functions in two ways. The first one is the coarse adjustment, which is by this knob. You move this around, lock the fence, lock it in place using this lock screw here. And then you're able to turn this dial here in order to make micrometer adjustments, and each of these notches represents 1/16 of an inch. So you can adjust this very slightly, and you can see the fence moving very slightly to really get in exactly where you want it to go. And then once you got where you want it, you lock this down right here, and this thing isn't going anywhere. Also, the fence is able to be moved back by action. If you take this locking threaded bolt down, take it out, and then these two pins come out, which allows you to move the entire assembly back, sorry for the squeaking, back or forth to the next set of pins, so it looks like this. And that allows you to make large adjustments pretty quickly here. Here on the right side you could see the original badge for the saw details. I don't know much about this. All I know that it's a 3 horsepower, 3-phase motor, 60 cycles, and right now I'm running it off a 10 horsepower rotary phase converter, 220 volts, in a garage shop. So that humming in the background is the rotary phase converter. It's pretty quiet. As I said, 10 horsepower motor. We'll go ahead and fire up the saw and you can see if it passes the nickel test. So I've gone ahead and taken off the safety cover for the purpose of the video. We'll go ahead and fire at the saw and make a cut in this piece of scrap wood, scrap walnut, so you can see how easily it cuts through hardwood like walnut.